Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking through a couple player props I like on Prizepicks for today's NBA slate on Tuesday, January the 31st. It is Taco Tuesday, so we do have a discounted projection up right now. Kawhi Leonard's points prop set at 22.5. This is a discount Prizepicks is giving us. It's available until 3:30 Eastern time, and then there will be another taco up. And then when that one goes away, there'll be one more taco. So there's going to be 3 tacos today, I believe. There's usually always 3 tacos. So take advantage of this Kawhi Leonard discount. I probably will be playing this. I usually play all the tacos, just because anytime you're getting a discounted projection off of a normal projection, it's usually always going to be a good bet in the end. These don't always hit, but I will say that as of late, the tacos have been doing pretty well. A lot of them have been hitting lately. So I do like that taco for today. Wanted to shout out Prizepicks for running that discount. They do this every Tuesday. So if you guys are not playing on Prizepicks yet, if you're new to the channel, you never checked out Prizepicks before, make sure to sign up with my promo code Noah. You do look at the bottom of the screen. Prizepicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But we got 2 picks for today to talk about, guys. I got 2 fantasy score props I like for this Tuesday slate. It's a little bit of a smaller slate. It's only 5 games tonight. And honestly, I don't really like this slate that much. I don't like a lot of these games, but I got 2 props I like that we'll talk about in a second. Just before we do get started, as always, if you guys do enjoy these Prizepicks videos, make sure you hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, if you haven't checked out Prizepicks before, you can sign up with that promo code, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. Now, I do want to talk about our plays from yesterday before we talk about our plays for today. So yesterday we gave out 2 picks. Unfortunately, one of them hit, but one of them didn't. We did take the over on Rudy Gobert's fantasy score. Gobert had a really big first half. It was looking, sweat-free. I think Gobert had 26 or 28 fantasy points at halftime, and we only needed 35 from him. And he didn't really do anything in the second half, but he finally came through in the end, towards the end of the fourth quarter. The game wound up going to overtime as well. But Gobert went over his fantasy score yesterday. Unfortunately, Dennis Schroeder did not go over his fantasy score. We took him over 28.5, and I saw, actually, after I uploaded the video, I saw his projection actually went down a point, which obviously that's never, you never want to see that when you take an over and the projection goes down. But I took the over on Dennis Schroeder's fantasy score, and man, Schroeder, I'm sure most of you guys saw, he literally shot 2 for 15 yesterday. 2 for 15. Felt like the usage was there, the shot volume was there, the minutes were there, kind of like I expected. He just couldn't make any shots. He had 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, finished with 24.5 fantasy points while shooting 2 for 15. The fact that he finished 3 fantasy points short of his projection while shooting 2 for 15 was just wild. So that was really annoying. If Schroeder even has a mediocre shooting game, he's going to hit his prop, but he had the worst shooting game possible, which is super unfortunate. But we move on to Tuesday's slate. Hopefully both of our guys can hit today. I got 2 fantasy score props I like once again for today's slate. So we'll start off with the first play. Going to talk about this Lakers and Knicks game. And I want to talk about Anthony Davis's fantasy score. It's sitting at 42.5. And I'm actually going to be taking the over for Anthony Davis here. Anthony Davis has played 2 games since coming back from his injury. The first game against San Antonio, he came off the bench, played about 26 minutes, had 48.9 fantasy points, was really productive. Last game against Boston, he came off the bench again, but he actually played 34 minutes. Now, it is worth noting that game did go to overtime, but even at the end of regulation, Davis had played 29, 30 minutes off the bench, put up 32 fantasy points. Now, that was a really tough matchup against Boston. We know Boston's a good defense. They do a pretty good job limiting center production, and with Robert Williams back, it wasn't the best spot for Anthony Davis. Now, this Knicks team, you look at their season-long stats, they've been pretty good defensively against centers as well, but I think a lot of that has to do with Mitchell Robinson and with his defense, and right now, Mitchell Robinson is out. So I think this matchup is actually a little bit better than you think going up against the Knicks, and I think there's a good chance Anthony Davis will be back in the starting lineup tonight. It seems like a lot of the books and a lot of the projection sites are projecting Davis for close to full minutes. And I would assume if he's projected to play close to full minutes, that means he's probably going to be in the starting lineup. He did start the second half last game over Thomas Bryant. He came off the bench last game, but he played about 15 first half minutes, even coming off the bench. And then he did start the second half and then wound up playing 34 minutes full for the game. The Lakers did play yesterday, but Anthony Davis rested yesterday. Him and LeBron both rested yesterday. So they should both be full go for today. And I think if Anthony Davis is back in the starting lineup, we can project him for probably 32, 33, 34 minutes. He might not play 38 minutes, but he probably plays at least low 30s. And when Davis has been healthy this season, he's been a very, very good point per minute player. You look at his per minute production is actually way better than LeBron this year. LeBron this season has averaged 1.45 fantasy points per minute. Anthony Davis has averaged 1.61 fantasy points per minute. The only issue, or the only reason that Davis's projection is so much lower compared to LeBron's is just because there is a little bit of uncertainty with Davis's minutes right now. But I think given that he started the second half last game, given that he was able to play 34 minutes, that makes me think he's probably going to be back in the starting lineup today, going to be back to playing close to full minutes. And when Anthony Davis is playing close to full minutes, his projection is normally close to 50. I think 42.5 could definitely be, maybe a little bit higher. I was looking at a lot of his props across the board. His PRA line is set at 33.5. I kind of like that one too, but the reason I like taking fantasy score for a guy like Davis is because Davis can get, a ton of blocks and steals, and that's what really, those can add up when you take fantasy score. We've seen AD have games where he gets 3-4 blocks, 2-3 steals. I think that game against the Spurs recently, he had like 4 blocks in that game. So I like the fantasy score most for Davis. If he's back in the starting lineup tonight, I think that indicates that he's going to be able to play close to his full minutes. And if he does play close to his full minutes, this projection of 42.5, I think, does feel a little bit too low, especially for this matchup against a Knicks team that's without Mitchell Robinson right now. The matchup's definitely a little bit better maybe than people think. So that's the first play I like for today. Going to be taking AD to have more than 42.5 fantasy score. And then another fantasy score prop I like, I want to talk about LaMelo Ball. His fantasy score line is at 42.5 as well. Also like the over here for LaMelo Ball. Now, the big question mark, I guess, with this game is, can this game stay competitive? Right now, Milwaukee's favored by like 11 in this game. They're playing at home. Charlotte, obviously Charlotte is probably like one of the worst teams in the NBA. They've just been really disappointing this year. Haven't been able to get any sort of a groove going. But Charlotte has historically played pretty well against Milwaukee. And last time they actually played earlier this season, I think Charlotte beat them by like 25 or 26. I mean, obviously that's an outlier. That's not something we should expect to happen here. But Charlotte, when they do keep games competitive, they will play their guys really, really big minutes. And even in some blowouts lately, we've still seen them play LaMelo Ball 36, 37, 38 minutes, even in blowouts. So I want to pull up LaMelo's game log and just kind of look through like some of the games where they lost by like 20 plus. They lost to Boston by 16. LaMelo played 38.5 minutes in that game. They lost by, the game they beat Milwaukee by 29. LaMelo played 36 minutes in that game. They lost to Memphis by 24. LaMelo played 35 minutes in that game. They lost to Brooklyn by 17, 36 minutes for LaMelo. They lost to the Clippers by 21. LaMelo played 37 minutes. So I think even if the game's kind of like a blowout, I mean, obviously if they're losing by like 40 or 50, I don't think LaMelo's going to be out there. But if it's like a 20-point game, I still think they're going to play their starters. Charlotte has played their starters pretty good minutes, even in blowouts this season. And we know LaMelo Ball is going to be productive when he's on the floor. We know he's going to play big minutes if it's even close to a somewhat of a competitive game. So far this season, when you look at his points per minute, he's leading the team in usage, and he's averaged 1.24 fantasy points per minute. He's had a lot of success against Milwaukee this season. When they played earlier this year, he did have a really big game. He put up 54.6 fantasy points, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 steals, and a block in 36 minutes. He's played Milwaukee 6 times, since coming into the league. He's over this line in 4 out of 6 games against the Bucks for what it's worth. But even if this game does get a little bit ugly, even if, let's say, the Hornets are down by like 20 or 25 heading into the fourth quarter, I still think LaMelo Ball gets close to his full run. The way they run their rotations as well, LaMelo is usually one of the first guys to sub out. Of all the starters, he usually subs out first. And then like when the second quarter starts, when the fourth quarter starts, LaMelo usually starts the second quarter, and the fourth quarter he plays a lot with the second unit. So that's also in his favor as well. Just with how they run their rotations, LaMelo's a lot more likely to be out there to start the fourth quarter, which even in like a 20 or 25-point game, if it does so happen to turn that way, I think LaMelo would still be out there. So feel pretty good about him regardless. Obviously, if the game is competitive, then we know he's getting big minutes as long as he's not in foul trouble. Even if it's a blowout, though, the Hornets have been playing their guys even in blowouts, especially LaMelo. They've been letting him play 35, 36 minutes, even when they're losing by 25, 30. So that's what I like as our 2 picks for today's guys. Anthony Davis, 42.5 fantasy score, going to take him to go over that line. And then LaMelo Ball, 42.5 fantasy score, going to take him to go over that line as well. These are 2 picks I like. Taking a first look at the board right now. I will be sharing a few more plays over on Patreon for today like I always do. I will say that for today's slate, I don't like a ton, so this could definitely be a day where I only give out like a few plays on Patreon, but I'll see what I can find. I have to look through the full board. These are 2 fantasy score props, though, that I did like. Kind of taking a first look at the board right now when I'm recording this video. But again, hope you guys enjoy this video or enjoy these Prizepicks videos. Make sure you hit that like button down below if you guys do enjoy. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, if you guys are new to Prizepicks and if you have never checked out Prizepicks before, you guys can sign up with my promo code NOAH. Prizepicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. Definitely check out Prizepicks if you have not yet. But good luck on the slate, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.